And we are live. Welcome to the apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. I know the time is messed up again. Great. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going? I wish I would have known. I could have refilled my coffee. I was like, man, I'm getting low on that coffee, man.
Do you all love? I love that intro, and that intro is so awesome, man. That's all gray, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a couple of minutes to say hello first of all, and to do a little bit of laundry, right? Let's do a little laundry, right? First of all, sorry if I messed up the time. There's been an issue with the internal clock on my computer for a little bit, and it seems that it's corrected itself now. So I don't know to this day what the problem is, but in the past, I would always have to put the start time 1 hour ahead of what I actually wanted to start. So that's why I made sure that on the thumbnail for today's live stream, I included the start time on the actual thumbnail. That way, if something went wrong with the internal clock, that you would at least be able to see the thumbnail. So thank you very much for being here, first of all. And at the beginning of our lives, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of laundry, a little bit of admin. And let me just tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, that the last time that we had this live stream on Gray's channel, a lot of people were talking about the ads in the middle of the live stream. And I actually talked with Gray earlier today about this. There is no choice. There is going to be at least one ad in the middle of a live stream because YouTube gives you two choices. Don't monetize it at all right? And there'll be zero ads, or monetize it and there's going to be at least one ad 30 minutes in. Now, let me tell you why I've decided to keep it monetized, and I'm sure Grayman will as well. It's because if you demonetize it, YouTube will not share it, all right? So if you take the monetization off, YouTube will not share that you're going live. They will not share the video until you put the monetization on. And that's why, but they do allow you to pick if you want to have an ad come on every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. And the less frequent number of times that an ad can come in is every 30 minutes. All right. So about 30 minutes in, there's going to be an ad that pops up. Just go ahead and skip it if you like to. Okay. But there's nothing that we can do about it on that. So Gray, what's up, brother? How's it going?
I'm living the dream, man. Every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, it's another day. You know what I mean? I'm still alive. I guess everything is good. But yeah, that the ad thing, I'm so confused with it. I kind of want to wash my hands with it too. But it's like, you know, in order for us to get recommended, we got to do what we have to do. And I mean, I think the viewers understand that. You know, most of the viewers are very, very kind people. You know what I mean? And like to support us in every way they can. So we truly appreciate you folks out there. And hello to everyone as well. A lot of good people in chat. Ad blocker for the win, huh? Well, also someone asked me, they were like, hey, Gray, I have YouTube Premium and I don't get ads. I really want to know if it hurts you. And I'm like, no, we still get paid. If you have premium where you don't have to get ads, we still get a cut of that. So it's good. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that.
Yeah, look at this. 7 p.m., but it says 8 p.m. I don't know what to do anymore. I'll just make sure that during my live streams, I'll make sure that I always put the time on the thumbnail. All right. So for those of you that haven't joined in on our live streams, Gray and myself, what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we are documenting the apocalypse. All right. And the apocalypse just means the reveal. Everything that is revealed to us and the repercussions of those things that are being revealed to us, like all of the nefarious things that our government does, anywhere from the laws that it breaks to the laws that it redistributes differently, depending on what class of citizen you are, high or low, being on what they do monetarily and financially and how that hurts us. We try to reveal that to you all in a simple layman term by what we see in the news. And that's what we're doing here. I think it's a lot of fun. And it seems that those of you that have been joining in from the beginning of this have enjoyed it as well. So as long as it's fun and as long as you're all enjoying it, we're going to continue to do it. And Gray, why don't you go ahead and explain to those people that are here that maybe are here for the first time, like the format that we use. What is it that we do? What do you play and what do I play? Like what roles do we play in this?
Well, I mean, I'm more of the spontaneous idea guy when it comes to different topics, things that I come across, headlines and news, things that I think might be relevant to our community that maybe they want to know. Some folks may want to know, some folks don't. things that infringe on certain things like our constitutional rights, things about shortages, whatever it might be, anything. But I like to kind of surprise Rudy with little tidbits of whatnot, and just to see his general reaction to some of these stories, outside of him having any clue of what I got lined up. You know what I mean? He can see a little icon in the bottom until I bring it up, but other than that, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't cheat about it either. I don't cheat and be
Yeah.
looking down there to see if I can think about it first.
So yeah, if folks are always wondering, like, you know, how does this work? That's how it works. We feel it works best that way, folks. To just kind of be spontaneous. There we go. That's the right word. But I enjoy it. You know what I mean? I know some of you folks. I know me and Rudy have talked about it. We read your comments in regards to, is Gray ever going to talk? Well, me as the interviewer and he's the interviewee. It's kind of like, you know, especially if I push Rudy's buttons in the right way, knowing how to get him to talk for 20 minutes, I know how to do that. So I do that on purpose.
You just want me to do all the work, man.
Heck yeah, man. I get my I don't know how you do it. My throat would be killing me after a while.
And let me go ahead and throw this out there before we start, Gray. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you check out Gray's live stream tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be there because I want to win something nice. All right. And from what I understand, Gray, you're having a live stream tomorrow where you're going to do like a Christmas giveaway live stream to give back to your community members.
Yes. I have it up. It's live right now. If you go to my channel and you look at my live streams, if you want, I could do this, Rudy. Let me see here. Let me do this. And this is what you might want to look for. And that's how you'll know you're in the right spot. This is the thumbnail that you want to look for. I'll let Rudy bring it up. You see that thumbnail there? Yeah, that's nice. That's the thumbnail you want to see.
Ooh, I like it.
I should have put the time too, right? It's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually I start at 7 on Tuesdays when I do live streams on my own, but I figured we want to have a little bit of time. In the beginning, I'm just going to be talking about YouTube and thanking people and just a little bit of that. And then we're going to start doing these major giveaways with all these major sponsors. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
Nice, man. That looks great.
Awesome, I appreciate it, brother.
And another thing, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take an opportunity during the beginning of the video really quick to go ahead and let you know what's going on as far as some of our sponsors. So right now, for those of you, if you didn't see the video that I put up earlier this morning reviewing the OUPES Mega 2, that is an awesome machine, and I really like it a lot. Take a look at that video if you're interested or if you're in the market for a solar generator. That is a really, really great machine, and the efficiency on that thing is remarkable. Just check the video out. It's not that long, and it's an awesome machine. And right now, they are having their Black Friday sales all the way through the 28th of November. So go on there. Make sure that you use my codes for the extra savings. And I hope that OUPES is not watching this, but they have a little bit of a bug in their system. I believe that you can use my 10% discount code on the brand new Mega 2. Whereas they told me that they gave me a 5% code. But go check it out if you want to go check it out. Only if you're in the market. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That, and I'm going to be having a Christmas Bash giveaway here within the next couple of weeks or so. All right. But we'll talk about that as it gets closer. And let's take it away, Gray. Hey, I like that. Let's take it away, Gray.
We can take it away. I just want to add to one thing. If you go and watch Rudy's video, which I did earlier today about the Mega 2, I'm going to give everybody here, because you guys have taken the time out of your evening to join us, and I'm going to give everybody one secret about tomorrow's live stream. OUPES has kindly donated a Mega 2 to give away for you folks. So that's going to be one of the giveaway prizes tomorrow night is a Mega 2, brand new, front in the box from OUPES.
Nice. That is a great solar generator. Hey, Gray, you haven't reviewed that one yet, have you? The Mega 2?
I have not.
I'll tell you what, that is this is what I like about picking a company that is innovative, meaning that they don't stay still or stagnant, and also that has good people behind it, meaning that they give back to the community, right? Mm-hmm. It's what I like about working with companies like that, is that they come out with new product that is not just a cookie cutter of the other stuff that they're come out with, just a different color or something like that. But that's new product that's better, and the price of that machine is just incredible. After you take like 10% off, the price is just, great. So yeah, I'm really excited about that Mega 2 and the other OUPES products. But I'm just really glad that that they're as good of a company as they are as far as the community goes. So yeah, people are gonna love that, and I'm definitely gonna be on that live stream. Right,
Trying to like
I'm definitely gonna be on that one because I want to win me another mega too.
um I saw someone in the comment section. I answered this in my Mega 3 review that I did just recently. And people keep on asking me, is an EMP or Corona, we'll just say EMP. It's roughly the same thing. That's what most people are concerned about. Is the EMP, what are you going to do with your solar generators during an EMP, man? That's a question I get a lot. I don't know if you get that question or not. There you go. You getting it too? How do you protect it if used? So there's so many things that you can do that you can do. A lot of you folks know that I reviewed a guy who works for NASA who specializes in EMP protection and stuff like that. And there's all kinds of gadgets that you can use to protect your units. It's like, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it's like a little thing that you can plug into the cigarette adapter part of your 12-volt input into the device. If you unplug it from the wall, of course, there's going to be some added security there. People have EMP, what's it called? Faraday cages, these wraps and stuff like. There's a lot of different things you can do. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Gray, well, if I have it plugged into my house or whatnot, and I don't have it set up for EMP, then what? You know what I mean? It's, folks, I don't know what to tell you that. What do you think, Rudy? You have any added?
I have a great answer for that. If ladies and gentlemen, if you watched my video that I put up this morning, it wasn't just trying to sell you a Mega 2, but it was trying to give you a little bit of information on what you could do if there was the threat of an EMP and or a coronal mass ejection. Of course, I honestly do not believe that the United States of America will get hit with an EMP. And let me tell you why. And then Gray can go ahead and elaborate on that, extend on that. Mm-hmm. The reason is, for example, let's say that country X hits the US with an EMP. Well, only because they hit the US with an EMP doesn't mean that that's it. The US is incapable of anything. We have submarines that are always in patrol. We have aircraft carriers that are always in patrol. And if for some reason that did happen to us, that we got an EMP, do you think that those assets, military assets that we have carrying nuclear capabilities on board, that they would stand still? No, whatever country did that to us would more than likely be glowing for the next 80 to 100, if not longer years, right? So that's why I don't think that any country will ever execute an EMP on us, unless it's a country that wants to self-destruct, okay? Because I think that would happen, that if we got EMP'd, that whatever country did it would get just obliterated completely, right? So I'm not worried about an EMP, ladies and gentlemen. I'm worried more about a coronal mass ejection. Mm-hmm. Now, a coronal mass ejection is foreseeable. Depending on the strength of it would depend on how fast it would get to Earth. And if you are on top of channels like Suspicious Observer, mm-hmm. or I forget the other one, his name is Diamond. If you're on top of some of those channels that provide you with space weather, you'll be on top of knowing whether we got a CME headed our way in enough time to do some basic things like what I'm going to tell you. This is what I would do. One of the first things that I would do, of course, is to make sure that if I have an extra solar generator, all right, I would go ahead and already have one stowed away in an EMP-proof container. Excuse me. All right. That way I could always have it there, along with a few solar panels, etc. But if I only have one solar generator or one set of solar generator and a regular generator, etc., whatever you want to have EMP-proof, as soon as I found out, if I stay abreast of solar weather or of space weather, and as soon as I find out that there is a coronal mass ejection coming our way, first thing I would do is I would make sure that I unhook my house from the grid, meaning that I would turn off that power to the main part of my house. And physically, now I am not a professional, I'm not an engineer, do this on your own, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not telling you what to do, telling you what I would do, okay? So don't come out here and sue me if you get electrocuted, all right? Anyways, I digress. What I would do is I would disconnect the power, physically disconnect it from my house. That's the first thing I would do. And then I would go ahead and grab all of the small devices that I own, phone, tablet, etc., that I can fit in the microwave and put it inside the microwave. All right. And then I would go ahead and grab some of those other bigger devices that I have, and I would put them in a Faraday cage. Depending on how long you have, depending on the speed of the CME that's coming towards Earth from the sun, would depend on how fast you would have to be in putting those things away and how many things you would already have to have staged ready to go in that instance. So there are some things that you can do for a CME. An EMP, if it does happen, no one is going to know about it, ladies and gentlemen. So just make sure that you have your basic preps already. All right. If you have your basic preps, you can get through almost any crisis much better than the person next to you that didn't have any preps at all. What do you think, Ray?
Well, the coronal mass ejections also, I want to say, because those guys we were talking about, they actually, I don't know if it'll show it on the screen. I'll see if my camera will focus on it. But that is that they have an app, and they alert you in regards to different things that are happening with the solar thing. Some people don't like apps, I get it, but I get notifications every time there's a solar flare or something that's going on with the thing, and it lets me know, hey, there's some activities going on you might be aware of, and kind of stuff like that, which I enjoy. But with the coronal mass ejection, like you said about the speed, because the first one that hits, the main issue is that they come in waves. So they're going to be, there's a name for it, Rudy. I know you probably know what the name is, but once the first one hits, the other one comes behind it, and it's like a multiple hits.
So I know what you mean, but I forgot.
Yeah, I can't think of it. We're not scientists, unfortunately. But in regards to that, it's like, so you do have more time than you would have with an EMP. And someone wrote EMP internally. I'm assuming you're meaning our own government. And I agree on that aspect of that. If we ever were EMP'd, it would probably be some sort of false flag event.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go ahead and address this. How this says, Rudy, did you know that OUPES is charging $400 to ship a Mega 2 to Alaska? Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it cost them that much to do it. They just shipped me. I talked to Gray about this last week. It's actually arriving tomorrow. They shipped me some stuff, and they had to do it in a crate. They are paying probably more than $1,000, $1,500 just to ship to me a few things that they had to ship to me from the past, like an extra battery that they were going to ship to me so that I can test it, etc. But it cost them an arm and a leg. And unfortunately, they used to have a contract with UPS where it was like $200 that they would charge you for shipping to Alaska, and they lost that contract, and now it's even more. So that's the only company that I know of, OUPES, that will actually ship to Alaska. So it's really up to you. What do you got there, Gray?
Someone asked me about. I wrote it in the chat, but that's what it's called. Space Weather Live was the name of the app.
Space Weather Live.
Yeah, it's produced by the guys that you're talking about.
Let me see if I can find it. I'll put it up there. There it is. Oh, I just lost it. Yeah, there it is. Whoever wants to know, the Space Weather Live.
Yeah, it's they promote it on their site. They had their own website as well, folks. They're good people. They're lots of information if you're into the coronal mass and the solar cycles and stuff like that. They got a lot of great information. I see, because me and Rudy are good at prepping, but those guys are geniuses when it comes to solar activity and space weather and stuff like that. So if you want to know the ins and outs, you gotta watch their content and use their apps and their software that they use. And like I said, it's free. So that's an awesome thing.
Yeah. Look at that. What do you think about that, Gray?
I mean, the Amish are set. Did you know, from my understanding, I think the Amish have one phone that's like out in the barn, like a landline or something like that, if I recall correctly. But I don't think I think the Amish would barely notice, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that pretty much everything they do own like Now, this is what I know, because I know that there's Amish and there's Mennonite, I believe is another one. But I believe that the Amish, that they are allowed to have like a generator, but it has to be run outside the house, and it's not supposed to be used to like provide power to the whole house. They use it mainly like if they have a shop or something that they need to have a little bit of electricity, but it cannot be like grid electricity. I think the Amish would make it just fine, with one exception. And that's that they don't practice, from what I understand, the Second Amendment. And it doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how godly you are. There are bad people everywhere. I mean, you could be the most godly person on the planet, and a person that has evil inside of them wouldn't care. So, it's up to you. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's my responsibility first and foremost to protect my family. right? But that's up to everyone, whatever it is that you think as far as the Second Amendment goes.
Yeah, it's hey, you're in America, you can choose to carry or not to carry, man.
Yep,
At least in
absolutely.
most places. um I was looking at something you had said something about that grabbed my attention. You know me, I get notes everywhere, so I'm always looking at stuff. Because I have a note that says family and individual responsibility. It says each person has a responsibility to themselves and their families to be prepared for emergencies. It's crucial to have plans and supplies in place for personal safety and well-being.
Very well said. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, that's why Grayman and myself are complete opposites. Because where he has notes, I just tell you, I forgot. Why? Because I don't take notes.
Oh man, I love it, man, love it. Well, so the first topic we're going to be talking about, Rudy, tonight is Thanksgiving, and the reason I want to talk about Thanksgiving, it's away from 10K, woohoo! That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
go
awesome, brother.
go hook up John over at McBean Scottish Fitness. He's 150 subs, man. That's awesome. Congratulations, brother. Good for you, man.
It just goes downhill from there, McBean.
Oh, so look, hey, Gray, I was wrong. I was wrong. I guess the Amish well, that's good. That is
Oh,
great.
okay.
That makes me very happy. And the reason I said they didn't believe in the Second Amendment is because I remember seeing a story on a video once, like a news channel or something like that, where they were talking about that they would never use a firearm to defend themselves, that they allow God to, decide what's going to happen. But yeah, I think that's great. I hope that they do have firearms and that they would use them to defend themselves and their families, because I've never heard anything bad come from any kind of Amish community or person or anything like that. So good.
Yeah, no, I don't know here where I live. We don't have any Amish folks in the area that I live in. Florida, if folks probably know, Florida is the gunshine state. So, matter of fact,
Good.
our local sheriff, Rudy, our local sheriff, kind of took a jab. I don't know if he's up for re-election or whatnot, but he said, he's like, hey, I think we should do they passed a bill last year in regards to permitless carry, but the sheriff says no, we should have open carry. So I think he's going to push that in the next upcoming legislation as we move into this
Good.
this election year. So,
Yeah.
Because I think what is it like? How many states? Florida's weird. Florida's like one of the only out of all the states, there's like 7 states that don't let you open carry, and I think Florida's one of them, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But, anyways,
I personally prefer to conceal carry myself. Like here in Alaska, we can open carry if we like, but I've seen too many stories where somebody was open carrying and somebody came up from behind them and took their gun out of their holster and stuff. And I really don't care that anybody know that I'm carrying, to tell you the truth. So, but to each their own, But any laws that are passed that are for the Second Amendment, great, great. If they want to do open carry there and allow people to open carry, absolutely, you should be allowed to if you want to. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, because laws only affect law-abiding citizens. It doesn't affect the criminal element.
That's right.
So.
That's 100% right.
All righty. Should we jump into this, brother, before we just talk
man,
about?
Let's do this because we got to. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at that commercial time. All right. In about 4 or 5 minutes, you're going to get hit with an ad. That's not me. I didn't put it there. YouTube did. Not too much we can do about it. Okay. So just go ahead and let it start running. And if you want to skip it, skip it. All right. But that's not our doing. All right. That's YouTube. Anyways, go ahead, brother. Let's get this started. You want me to go ahead and bring up this?
Yeah, you can bring it up because basically I want to talk Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Thanksgiving's right around the corner. And I'm pretty sure a lot of folks' pockets are hurting. There you go, Rudy. A lot of people's pockets are hurting. I kind of wanted to look at pricing. You know what I mean? What is it costing us folks for a classic Thanksgiving dinner? If you're running out right now and buying stuff, if you don't have preps or a couple turkeys in your deep freezer or whatnot. But I wanted to kind of look at this a little bit and look at the pricing from 2022 to 2023. And there's more yellow check marks on the 2023 versus the 2022,
Yeah.
And
but inflation is only transitory, right, Gray?
Transitory. That's what they keep on telling us, man. They keep on telling us.
The thing is it's a half truth, really, because inflation is not transitory, right? Inflation is what happens, You can leave that back up, brother. We can hit it again if you want.
Oh, I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add to it while you're talking.
Okay. But inflation is what happens when you increase the money supply. That is inflation. But the rate of inflation is what is transitory. But what they don't tell you and what they lead you to believe is that once those prices go up, it doesn't matter what the rate of inflation is. Those prices are more than likely going to stay elevated and then just continue to go up at a slower rate than before. That's what's transitory, is the rate at which inflation is going up, but not the actual price of things themselves going up and then coming back down significantly or back down to the baseline where it used to be before. So people get hung up on that. They don't understand that, and that's why most people throughout their lives, that's why most of them stay poor, because they are not educated enough, unfortunately. And I'm not blaming we the people. I'm blaming the education system. I'm blaming the liars in Washington. I'm blaming the liars that tell you that you should be putting money here or there, whereas you're going to be losing a lot of that wealth that you're putting away in paper dollars to the inferno of what I call inflation, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not blaming the average person, but inflation throughout your lifetime, your working lifetime, will steal from you about 70% of what you earned. Think about that. Just through inflation. I'm not talking about direct taxation, but just through inflation, throughout your working life, you're going to lose about 70% of what you
Mhm.
actually worked for, labored for. So people just need to understand what money is. If you can teach your children what money is, and what inflation is, just some basic things, man, your kids would be so much better off than what we are in this generation. What are we looking at here? Let's see.
So
Different supermarkets.
yeah, I wanted to help folks out in case people are trying at their last minute shopping and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different stores here. And to kind of give you an idea that, when I do my pantry hauls, I do a lot of shopping around trying to find the best deals. And why I do the pantry hauls kind of show, hey, well, Aldi's had this, the Dollar Tree had this, Walmart has this. And these are a bunch of most of your major brands here. And if you look through there, depending on what part of the country you live into, Aldi's is usually a good buy. But then you can kind of see some of the stores like Publix, which is huge here in Florida. They're at the
Yeah,
top of the mark. Hy-Vee, I've never heard of that one. I don't know if you've heard of that one, Rudy, or not.
never heard of them. No.
But look at Whole Foods. People that, oh, I love Whole Foods. It's organic,
Holy
man. It's the best stuff
smokes.
around. $85 for just a regular Thanksgiving meal if you shop at Whole Foods. That's nuts. I'm trying to think who the best deal on this year. It looks like Wegmans has the best deal for a full Thanksgiving meal for price point average. You know what I mean? But I wanted to share that because in case some folks are like, well, where can I shop at to save some money? And this might be an option for you folks. Because that's what we're here for when we do our videos, is to help people, our viewers, to save money and to get prepared. And I feel like this is beneficial to folks to know, hey,
Yeah.
this is one of the stores in my neighborhood. Gray had that on the screen, and I think that's a good deal, So I just wanted to share that, talk about Thanksgiving because the cost keeps on going up. I know I had sticker shock, and the reason I wanted to talk about it real fast is I had sticker shock when I looked at some of the turkeys while we were grabbing some things the other night, the wife and I was like, holy, they want $40 just for that little piece of turkey? I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shocked.
I mean,
Uh,
and the thing is, Ray, this is the way it's going to be going forward. You know, things are not going to. I hate saying this, but it's true. Things are not going to get better anytime soon, and that's why we need to be prepared. And the thing is that with as many Americans right now that are in despair, meaning that they can't even afford to get a flat tire, literally cannot afford to get a flat tire, because if they do, it can cost them their jobs, which will cost them their livelihood, which will cost them their homes, and they can end up homeless from one flat tire. The average American can't even afford a $400 or $500 emergency, and they're tapped out. Their credit cards are maxed out. They are what's called debt saturated. So we are in a bad way. Whereas if we did have a major crisis, let's say financial crisis, the 60 to 70% of Americans that right now can't even afford a $400 or $500 emergency, they're going to be in so much despair that the government's going to have them exactly where they want them in order to affect policy, in order to make policy that they want to make that normally they wouldn't be able to get away with, like a CBDC, which will be an enslavement tool rather than a tool that is used to help us. Uh, think about this. Can anyone tell me when's the last time that the government actually did something that was good, that actually helped people? Not only in the short term, because those stimulus checks really help people for about 2 minutes, but are they helping them now with inflation that has way over surpassed what they received in stimulus? If you'll remember, we ended up getting, I think, on average, about $3,000 per family, right, Gray? On average, right? About $3,000 per family once you took all those stimulus checks and put them together, right? Now, starting this year, I remember doing a video. Starting this year, the average American family now has to spend about $700 to $900 more per month because of inflation. That's $8,000 to $10,000 a year more than 3 times all of the stimulus checks that we received. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not just for 1 year. That's forever. Okay, that's forever. So those nice little stimulus checks that we got, I hope that you really enjoyed them, and I hope that you really put them to good use, because you will be paying for those for the rest of your lives, including your children and your children's children. So make sure that you invite them to the party, because they're going to pay for those as well. And you know what? Let me go ahead and I'm not going to run away with this, Gray. I promise.
Oh,
But
you're fine. I'm reading chat.
I like to bring this up because I remember when I was shouting from the top of my lungs about those stimulus checks and about how bad they were. I remember someone leaving a comment saying, well, Rudy, people need those stimulus checks, right? And I wonder what that person is saying now with inflation the way it is. But one of the things that I replied with was, what people don't ask is, why do we need these stimulus checks? And it falls back to what I've talked about being the Hegelian dialectic, that the government either produces a crisis or takes advantage of a crisis, where after it sees the effect on we the people, then puts out a solution that only progresses its own agenda, but does nothing for the people that is supposed to be helping. So always ask yourselves that whenever the government says you can have this for free, ask yourselves, is it really free? I can answer that for you right now. No, it's not. It will either cost you down the line, like it's costing us now in inflation, and or you'll have to give up some, if not most, of your sovereignty for that which you are getting that you think is free. It's never free, ladies and gentlemen.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the next article has to do with kind of what you're not literally what you're talking about, but it has to do with New York.
With New York, oh, this should be a good one, man. I haven't.
Right.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I haven't seen it, but it's right here.
So
Appellate court reinstates New York governor's power to enforce quarantine rules. Hey, that's great. I mean, stay in New York. There's gonna be some good states and some bad states. If you want to live in New York, if you want to live in California, and I always get hate for this. I'm not saying anything bad about New York or California's people, all right? But it's up to you if you want to stay living there. If there are more people that live in New York that want to allow their government in New York to tell them how to live their lives and what to do, then go ahead. Stay there if you want. Obviously, that's how it is in California, because California has been like this for years now. San Francisco, until she decided to visit San Francisco and have some kind of a meeting with Biden over there. San Francisco used to be the poop capital of the country, where they literally have an app on your phone that tells you which streets have the most or the least poop, so you know which street to walk down. But people want to stay living there because it's beautiful, great weather. I'll take 7 months of darkness and winter in Alaska before you find me in San Francisco trying to navigate through human feces on my phone app. Incredible, man.
That's horrible. I it's funny you mentioned that. I watch a channel. His name is Mike Glover. I think he runs a company called Fieldcraft Survival out of Utah, and he rode with a law enforcement officer He talked to him, and he also did something with what is that? Jack Osborne or whatnot. And it was very eye-opening to see someone on the ground showing what's going on in some of these areas and how there's no police, how the police have their hands tied, how they've decriminalized or made it so that you can't get in trouble for this or that. And it was just quite interesting to see how it all plays out. And you have someone like Jack Osborne, who's wealthy, he's a celebrity, but more on the mindset that we have, because he's actually prepping, you know what I mean? And he's him and his friends were having a conversation. And remember, these guys are like millionaires, folks. And they were like, well, everybody else is doing it. Why should we start paying? Regular people are starting to go out there and think, well, if everybody else can steal for, under $1,000, I mean, I can just walk into the store and take whatever the heck I want too. It's obliterating their economy over there. It's crazy the way that is, man. I don't understand it, how the government, the local government can run a state like that.
Well, I mean, it's going to fail soon enough, but I do believe that that's their goal. Their goal is for the system to fail. Their goal is for the people to ask for more government. That's what their goal is. And if people don't wake up, and people are waking up, but if people don't wake up in a hurry, it's going to end up failing, and it's going to be a lot worse, down the line than what it would be if we try to fix it now. Hey, great. Let me see if I can answer a couple, or if we can answer a couple of these questions.
Sure.
One of them is from Patricia. What is the name of the group who watches the CMEs? That one is the Suspicious Observer. Is the YouTube channel that I look onto pretty much on a daily. And if there's any kind of space weather that's going on that you should be concerned with, usually Ben over there, a Suspicious Observer, he's got you covered. And I just wanted to go ahead and talk about this a little bit. Money is the root of evil. I mean, I have to disagree with that, but I think that we will both agree on what I have to say about that, Minuteman. The love of money is the root of all evil, but it's the love of money. You see, because now this is my opinion, because I didn't actually talk with God. I talked to him, but I don't talk with him, right? I believe that God put gold and silver on this earth so that it can be used as money, because God himself understood that we humans, we need a median in which we can use to exchange value for value. And being that gold and silver are elements, right, they cannot be created and they can't be destroyed either. So people that love money, right, people that are evil, that actually have a love of money, like the people in Washington, D.C., and these overlords that think that they ought to govern over us, they create their own money out of thin air. And that's the money that I believe is quoted as being said that these money changers, these evil money changers, that they will be throwing their silver and their gold onto the street. Not that it will be silver and gold, actually, that they'll be throwing onto the street, but the money changers will be throwing what they took and molested into their own silver and gold, which is fiat currency. So yes, the love of money is evil, right? However, you have to understand that money was a tool that was left to us so that we can exchange value for value in a fair and honest way. It's the money changers, i.e., governments, Federal Reserve, central banks. It's them that have ruined money because they love money so much. So just remember that. Everyone ought to know what money is, what real money is, and they ought to know why it is that they should that they should enact with real money and not fiat currency. And it's why I'm such a big proponent of whatever excess wealth you have. And what I mean by excess wealth is, do you have all your bills paid? Are you debt free, or are you on a path to be debt free? Do you have all of your preparations ready? A, B, and C, right? Do you have all of these things? And do you still have a little bit of excess wealth after you get all of those things put away? That excess wealth, in my opinion, belongs in gold and silver. Why? Number one, that's what God left us as real money. And it's money that cannot be tainted by the money changers that decided to create their own gold and silver, aside from what was left to us by our Creator. So that's what I have to say about that, Gray. What do you think about that, Gray? Tell me.
No, I agree. I have got into a couple, whenever you say, the first thing people always love to say is you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. I get slapped in the face with that. And I'm a person that I don't mind any type of construction criticism on something that I discuss or my personal opinion, as long as you do it in a educational and polite manner. But so, some people just come at you really hard with that. And I'm like, I try to use real world things that are happening in the globe. And I always, default to Venezuela. And because of that documentary that I watched, that they're literally paying for haircuts, food, and all kinds of stuff with gold, with literal gold. They're paying because their money is worth nothing. It's, and I get it. Like if there's a true full blown, end of the world as you know it, the
Right.
balloon goes up. I get it. It's still good to have in the aspect of like, eventually things will come back. You know what I mean? It's just the way the cycle works. Things come back. And basically you're retaining a certain aspect of wealth, even in the beginning of certain crazy situations, before people start realizing that food is more important than, let's say, gold or silver at that point. But they'll still be trading it, oh, I'm not going to take a dollar because a dollar's worthless right now because our country's in the, gutter. But, oh, you got some silver here. Yeah, have some eggs and this and this and that. So you can use it in kind of like right in that beginning. And then when the rebuilding starts, per se, at least that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? So I look at it as wealth retention.
Exactly what it is. I look at it as money. It's money. That's what it is. The value of it is in itself. The value doesn't go up or down. People think that the value of silver and gold go up and down. No, it's not. It's not the value of the dollar that goes up and down. That's why you have different nominal values for silver and gold. Is because the dollar is going up and down. And I'm not trying to pick on anyone today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not in the mood of trying to disagree with people. But OUPES says, how you doing, OUPES, by the way? Money is enslavement. No fences or chains necessary. I have to disagree with that. Like I said, we need to understand what money is. Once we know what money is, we understand that money is freedom. Why? Because real money, gold and silver, as is stated in the Constitution of the United States, is what we are supposed to be using in this country. All right? Our government has gone away from the Constitution. And why has our government gone away from using real money? Real money is freedom because the value is within it. The reason that our government doesn't use real money, they use fiat currency. See? Fiat currency is enslavement. No fences, chains necessary. If you were to put fiat currency instead of money in there, OUPES, I'd agree 100%. Why is that? Because with fiat currency, the government has no limits on what it can do. Why? Because if you're going to exchange value for value, you need a type of money. And the government has made fiat currency into our money instead of using real money. Now, why don't they use gold or silver? Because with gold and silver, they are restricted as to how much they can spend. That's the only reason that the government hates gold and silver, is because they are restricted as to how much they can spend. They cannot deficit spend with gold and silver. But with fiat currency that they can print out of thin air, ladies and gentlemen, they can strip your dollars of their value by just printing dollars out of thin air that nobody worked into existence, therefore stealing from you the time that it took you to earn those dollars. That is enslavement. Fiat currency gives the government power over the people, whereas real money gives the people the power over the government. That is why governments will never give up their fiat currency willingly. It will be a fight to the end. And that's why I say get prepared, because I do believe that the major crisis that will occur will be one in which they try to bring in a CBDC, will be one into where our financial system will be in disrepair more so than what it is now. And that's why you must get prepared, because they have to have something happen that will make people want to give them even more power. Think about that. The government wants something to happen so that they can take advantage of it, so that it will make the people, we the people, ask the government to get more power over us. That's how it's always worked. So those of us that are awake to that can prepare for that and hopefully make it out the other side, striving instead of just barely surviving. That's what prepping is for, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, And it's funny, we have the AP community, we have the gray community, and I wanted to read something that I have here. I'm starting to share these little kind of like tidbits of information, just because they're very powerful. At least that's how I feel. But it's called Empowering Communities Like Our Own. It says prepared communities are stronger and more resilient, and they can support each other and share resources and work together to effectively educate oneself in regards to emergency preparedness. That's what I think what we do here as a community. Not only me and Rudy here on the screen, but you guys in chat are sharing information as well, or in the comment sections and stuff like that. We're empowering each other. We're learning from each other. We are helping each other become more prepared, because I'm not a perfect prepper. I'm not a perfect person that gets everything right. I don't have all the answers. So I learn a lot from you, my viewers, as well. Just like I learned from Rudy. It's community is a huge thing. It's almost to the point where I feel sometimes by people like coming across one of our channels, I'm like, oh, okay. It reduces people's anxiety to know that there's other like-minded folks out there that are, preparing for worst case scenarios. And basically, you're mitigating risks. You're mitigating risks in your life, depending if the risk is small or large. You're mitigating those risks as being someone who is prepared.
Here you go, Gray. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let's dissect this one really quick here.
Okay.
Helen says, but the fiat, meaning the fiat currency that we use, is backed by the petrodollar. So let me go ahead and talk about that for a little bit. That way we can understand. So, Helen, the deal is this. Now, this is my opinion, but hear me out, okay? I didn't get this from like a book or anything like that. The Federal Reserve note, which is what we call the dollar, right, and is what is called around the world, is obviously fiat currency. And it is not backed by the petrodollar. It is not backed by oil. The reason that they call the petrodollar as the world reserve currency, and the reason why people say, oh yeah, the petrodollar is backed by oil, is because back in 1973, 2 years after 1971, when President Nixon took us off the gold back standard, when the dollar was actually worth gold, you can actually turn in your dollars and get gold. That's what countries did. That's what we used to trade with countries, internationally. All right. So when the dollar was actually worth gold, all right, Nixon overspent the money between the Vietnam War, with Johnson and Nixon. They overspent. They printed so much money that countries caught on to the fact that we didn't have enough gold to satisfy the number of dollars that were out there floating amongst the world. So they started saying, hey, give me my gold back. Here's $35. Give me my ounce of gold back. And then once the gold stock got from like 26,000 tons of gold in the U.S. Once it got down to about 8,000 tons or so, they told the president, hey, if they keep doing this, we're not going to have enough gold. So then he said, hey, we got to stop backing the dollar with gold. So a few years later, 1973, he sent, what was his name? What was his his security guy's name? Henry Kissinger. He sent
Kissinger,
Henry Kissinger over to Saudi Arabia, and they made a deal. And they said, hey, listen, Saudi Arabia, if you and the OPEC nations, if you only accept dollars for oil, then what the U.S. will do is we will fight your wars for you, and we will sell you all of the military arms that you want. All right. And Saudi Arabia was like, hey, that's a great deal. Let's go ahead and do that. So what they did is they did not back the dollar with oil, calling it the petrodollar. They made it to where anyone that bought oil from an OPEC nation had to pay in dollars, right? So that gave the dollar more value. Why? Because more countries needed it. So the more that you need something, the more value that there is. Let me take a side note. This morning, I needed to get a ride from a taxi cab. There was only one taxi cab that could give me a ride to where I needed to go. Guess what? I ended up paying twice as much for that ride than what it would normally cost me. Okay, because there was only one out of about 20 taxis in the area. There was only one that can give me the ride where I needed to go, and I needed to be there in a hurry. I paid twice as much as what it would normally cost me. So what happens? The dollar is given value because it's needed more throughout the world, synthetically speaking. So they didn't do this because it was real need. They did this because they knew that if they didn't, the dollar would continue to lose value, and i.e., all of the inflation that occurred in the 70s. Right. So the dollar is not backed by the petrodollar. Let me tell you what it is that I think the dollar is backed by. All right. So every every time that the national debt goes up a trillion, like, oh my goodness, the national debt is now 34 trillion, 35 trillion, whatever it is now, right? But it's not really the debt that matters. What matters is what is used to pay for the interest on that debt. Let me ask you, Gray, how do we pay the interest on the national debt?
How do you pay?
How do we pay it? How does the U.S. pay the interest on the national debt?
They can't.
Well, no, they do. They have to pay.
Well, I mean, other than our labor.
Exactly, our taxes. They tax us. So they take our tax money and they use part of it to pay the interest on the national debt. They have to pay the interest on the national debt, because if they don't, the dollar will collapse. They will default on the loan, right? It's just like if you had an interest-only loan, for a mortgage. Have you ever heard of those interest-only loans for mortgages? If you don't pay your interest payment, what happens? You default, right? So the U.S. can have as much debt as countries are willing to borrow from it or to loan it, but they have to pay the interest on their loan. So who is it that pays the interest on the national debt? We do. The U.S. citizens do, through our taxes. So what is it that really backs the U.S. dollar? In my opinion, is our tax dollars. The interest that we pay for the loan that we have is what really backs the U.S. dollar, our labor. Because if we stop laboring and we stop earning money, then who is the government going to tax in order to service the national debt? They wouldn't have anyone to tax in order to service the national debt. So in my opinion, it is we, the sheeple, what they call us, right? We, the people, in other words, it is we that back the dollar. It is our labor that back the dollar. Because as soon as we stop paying that interest on that debt, we default. So I know that I made that into a 10 or 15-minute answer, like I always do. But I just want to make sure that people understand this, because it's so important, man. It's so important that people understand money. And that people just say, okay, money is the root of all evil. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to talk about money. But money is what is keeping us enslaved. Their money. We have to go back to honest money, sound money. That is what will give us our freedom. When the government is restricted as to what they can do, who they can bribe, right? What country they can send money to. When they are restricted as to what they can do with money, with our money, then we have the power. That's plain and simple. So that's why it's so important that we know what money is.
There's a comment that I want to answer. Maybe you want to touch on it too. It's by Brenda Z. I don't know if you see it or not. If not, I can read the comment because I really want to answer this comment.
Go ahead and read it, because I'm not sure if I can find it.
Okay.
Brenda Z.
It says, can someone explain exactly what is coming? Everyone says prepare, but no one is specific. Thanks. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already here.
It's Brenda here. I'm going to give you my perspective, and Rudy can add on to if you want. So what I mean by prepare on my channel specifically, or what I mean by I want people to get prepared, is I mean prepare from, like, if you lost your job. Let's say you have a food pantry that has, I don't know, 6 months worth of food, right? And you prepared it. You're preparing for whatever you're preparing for, right? You lost your job, and now you don't have the finances or the help to feed your family. So, but you have 6 months of food because you've been prepping. So now just something, because everybody loses their job one point in their life. I mean, it happens a lot. Or let's say something bad happens, like the pandemic or something like that, and you're kind of stuck in a certain position. You have food. Or if you live like where I live, hurricanes, or where Rudy lives, where there's, blizzards and ice storms, and you're stuck in your home, having ways to heat yourself, having the proper medical equipment or medicines to suffice until things get better. There's so many reasons to prepare outside of what mainstream will tell you, or certain channels may say zombies, comets, asteroids, Yosemite, whatever they can come up with to get the clicks but the God honest truth is preparedness in general just means for everything. I might even here, hold on. Ensuring safety. Preparedness measures preparedness measures ensure the safety of individuals, families, and communities. Having a plan in place can save lives and reduce injuries during emergencies. Just think about that. So I'm very passionate about spreading the word of preparedness because it helps folks get through crisis. You know what I mean? Be it that the crisis is small or the crisis is large. And worst case scenario, everything goes crazy. And at least you have some sort of sense of security with you and your family that you can get through that crisis.
Very good, man. Agreed. Hey, so another thing that we can hit on real quick, since we're talking about gold and silver, I still
Mhm.
remember the numbers on gold that I did a few weeks back when I did this video. So the person that asked, "What are we preparing for?" So check this out. 5 years ago, I've been talking about gold and silver since I started this channel. So if you were listening to me 5 years ago in the year 2018, I was talking about gold and silver, all right? And we've talked about the inflation that we've had here for the last year or two, right? Which has been, pretty dramatic for some people. Some people have really had to decline their standard of living because things cost so much more now. So check this out. If you all want, take out your calculators, ladies and gentlemen. I still remember these numbers pretty good. Back on January 1st or so of 2018, 1 ounce of gold was $1,283. Okay, 1 ounce of gold, $1,283. And today, an ounce of gold is, I'm going to call it $2,000 because I don't know exactly what it is, but it's probably like 1280. I mean, excuse me, 1980, 1990, something like that. But I'm going to call it $2,000. So if you take $2,000 and you subtract what gold cost back in 2018, which was $1,283, that gives you $717. That means that gold since 2018 has gone up in nominal terms by $717.
Mm.
Well, what does that mean, AP? Okay, so if you take that $717 and you divide it by the original price back in 2018 by $1,283, that gives you 55.8% increase in nominal price. That means that if you took $1,283 worth of your labor back in 2018, right? $1,283 worth of your labor back in 2018, and you put it into an ounce of gold, today you could take that same ounce of gold and still purchase pretty much the same amount of stuff that you can purchase with it back in 2018, because you have gone from $1,283 to $2,000 in nominal value. It doesn't mean that you're getting more value out of that gold today. It just means that you're getting more dollars. Why? Because gold in the last 5 years has done exactly what it was meant to do, to protect your purchasing power. So back in 2018, if you could buy, let's just say 400 gallons of gasoline with 1 ounce of gold, guess what you can buy today with 1 ounce of gold? 400 gallons of gasoline. It didn't make you rich, and it's not supposed to make you rich because it's real money. So that's what I mean about what am I getting ready for? 4 or 5 years ago, you could have started getting ready for the inflation that we're facing today and
Mm.
protecting your purchasing power by putting your excess wealth in gold and silver. And silver, it's the same numbers for silver. It's like 49, 50% increase for silver, whereas for gold, it's about 55, 56%. So that's what we get ready for here. We look at things that I like to call actionable intel.
Mm.
What can we see now that's happening that may affect our standard of living, our safety, our health, etc., 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 5 years down the road? I can tell you one thing for sure, ladies and gentlemen. I know that no matter what happens, this government has to continue to borrow money. No matter what. No matter what happens, this government, in addition to having to continue to borrow money, has to continue to ask the Federal Reserve to tell the banks to print and print and print, therefore further devaluing our dollars. I can tell you that 100% sure, guaranteed. All right. So, what does that mean? That means that if you want to protect your purchasing power, if you don't want to allow the government to steal from you your wealth, your time, your labor, your freedom, than that you would put your excess wealth into a vehicle that is going to preserve your purchasing power and or the value of your time at that time that you purchase gold or silver or even a can of corn, because a can of corn today compared to 5 years ago is probably 2 to 3 times as much.
100%. 100%. When you do cost analysis, it's ridiculous how crazy prices and shrinkflation. I mean,
Yep,
the products that you
same
buy
thing.
now are smaller and you pay more.
Yeah, same thing. Shrinkflation is the same thing as inflation. It's the exact
Yeah.
same thing. It's just another way of doing it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at a can of what is it that we can compare it to? Remember where you used to get like a can of corn? It used to be 16 ounces. Take a look at your can of corns now. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are like 15 ounces, 14 and a half ounces. You know, it depends what brand you get, but that's 1 ounce less. It may not sound like a lot, but that's 6% right there. 1 ounce less off of 16 ounces is 6 point something percent. You know, just think about it that way as far as shrinkflation goes.
That's awesome, Renegade Black Sheep. And that's the name of the game. You just never know what's going to happen. Um, I'm just looking at people's things real fast.
Hey, great. Just a second. Is that barking on your side or my side? I hear barking.
Not here.
Give me a second. Let me see. Oh, go ahead. Take over for a second. I want to make sure that's not my dog.
You're good. All right. So now we're at the Gray Show. No, I'm just kidding, folks. I had some other notes here in regards to people who ask questions about emergency preparedness. And I said that I did say something about mitigating risks. So I like to take notes just so that I can remember things when I'm on the live stream, because my brain is going, squirrel in every direction. But in regards to mitigating risk, it says being prepared helps mitigate risks associated with various emergencies, weather, natural disasters such as hurricanes, earthquakes, or floods, or human-made crises like fires, chemical spills, and power outages. How many of you folks out there have dealt with a power outage? In recent history, we've had chemical spills and train derailments. California with the wildfires. How many people have lost everything? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things that you prepare for to mitigate specific risks in your life, depending on what neck of the woods in the United States or abroad that you live in. One, I just want to do a shameless plug while Rudy's away so I can get you guys to check something out. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., I'm trying. The reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to let everybody know out there that tomorrow is this big, massive giveaway that I'm doing on my channel starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. EcoFlow, OUPES, Blue Yeti, Simpure, Mr. Heater, Wallaby Mylar bags. The list goes on. There's a lot of stuff going on tomorrow in the giveaway. So someone out there is probably hurting. Someone could probably use something free, be it a solar generator, water purifier, all kinds of the different things. I think Olight, OUPES, or I said OUPES already. Oh, bye. My apologies. There's so many things that are going to be in that stream that I want everybody to have an opportunity to win something, folks. And we're going to have some fun with it. You know what I mean? Every year it keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And it's a blessing to be able to do that, to help people in the community possibly win something that could be useful for them in their preps. So don't forget, I want to let everybody know that 6 p.m. tomorrow on my channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be normally, it's already posted. If you go to the channel, you can put a little click and notify yourself that it comes up so you don't forget, because YouTube will not notify you. Half the time, people don't get notifications. I'm going to put something in the community tab, but I just want to let everybody know. I'm trying to get it out there as much as possible so people don't come the next day and be like, dang, I missed the live stream. Also, the last 3 videos that I did, everybody who left a comment in those videos is going to get a second chance at winning something. I wanted to kind of go beyond just what the sponsors are doing. I have things to give away. So anybody who left a comment in the last 3 videos that I did, the Black Friday for EcoFlow, the OUPES Mega 3 review, as well as the OBI EDC gear review. So those 3 things, I let everybody know in the beginning of those videos, like, hey, leave a comment. You get a second chance. Anyways, that's my spiel on that. I hope Rudy's okay and hope his dog's okay. Oh, there you are.
I was letting you talk, man. Everyone's always like, hey, Rudy,
Okay.
let Ray talk, man. You be quiet for a second. I'm like, I'm doing my best. How have I done today, ladies and gentlemen? Hey,
One more
Gray,
thing I
I
want to
wanted
add.
to. Hey, I am. We're running out of time here, but I wanted to show you something really quick, and I wanted you to take a look at this. So you know how we are doing this Green New Deal thing, right? Where we're
Mhm.
supposed to be going net zero. I and I've told several people like this is a pipe dream. There's absolutely no possible way that we can ever get away from fossil fuels as technology stands today. The way that
Correct.
technology is today, there's no way that we can replace oil, gas, coal, whatever else we use for fuel with solar panels, electric cars, windmills, etc. The only thing that I think we can possibly replace, the fuels that we use today to power our world, and it would take a very long time for us to do it, is if we built a whole bunch of nuclear reactors, right, and power nuclear, and that is net zero. That does produce zero CO2. Which I don't know why so many people are afraid of CO2. It makes up 0.04% of the gases in our atmosphere, but I digress. That's the only way that I think we can do it with the technology that we have today. But I wanted to show you what a big scheme this is, right? Every time that you hear about a carbon tax here or about the government wanting to subsidize A, B, or C so that we can go green, this is what a big scheme it is. I'm going to show it to you right now. But first, I'm going to ask you. I just want to know that I'm on the right track in thinking this. And I've talked about this before. Gray, if we've already spent as a world probably close to, if not more than $10 trillion in the last 10 to 15 years, as a world, the people of the world, have been extracted of about 15 or so, between 10 and 15 trillion dollars we have been extracted of in order to go green. Pretty much our governments have taken our money from us and said we're going to use this 10 to 15 trillion bucks to go green. Would you think that after all of that money being put towards green energy, that maybe the consumption of oil around the world would maybe go down some? Will you
You,
think
you,
that? I'm just asking you for your opinion.
you would assume. The funny thing is, Rudy, is that little tab below you
Yeah,
that I put up is literally talking about what you're talking about.
you got to be kidding me because I don't
I'm
even know what it says.
I'm serious. I'm
Let me
serious.
show you. Let me show you what I wanted to show you first. Man, that is hilarious because I swear I haven't. I can't even read it the way it looks right now.
Right.
That's incredible. But let me just show you this right here. This real quick. Now, when you take a look at this, take a look at the bars going from left to right, and if you can see the dates in the bottom, you can see the dates in the bottom. Look at this. All the way to the left is 1970, and it shows, and that 2000 is in million metric tons. So all the way back in 1970 we were using as a world roughly 2.2 million metric tons of oil worldwide. Well, if you go all the way back to about 20 let's say 2010 or so, all the way back in 2010 we were using roughly 4,000 million metric tons of oil worldwide. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would think that after about 10 to 15 trillion dollars that have been put into green energy, that today we would be using less oil. Don't you think that makes sense? That after all of this money that has been extracted from we, the people, after all these trillions of dollars, that it would have made a dent on how much oil we use as a world? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that right now we're using probably 10% more oil than what we were 10 years ago, 12 years ago. After all that money that they've taken from us, we're still using more oil. And yet, people still don't understand that this has nothing to do with saving the environment. It has to do with transferring your wealth from your hands to
Mhm.
someone else's hands. And it's normally a person's hands who doesn't need any more money. And by transferring your wealth to someone else's hands, it's taking away your sovereignty, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever you hear, oh, this windmill project here is being subsidized by this, these EVs, Electric vehicles are subsidized like $8,000 by the federal government. And who's that helping? That's helping the people that make six figures or more. Why? Because most of the people that buy EVs make six figures or more. So they're taking your tax dollars and giving it to the people that don't need them so that they can buy these EVs. It's a big scam, ladies and gentlemen. Take my word for
Absolutely.
this. Take my word
Absolutely.
for this. So solar panels, I love solar panels. You know that. I love solar panels. I love solar generator. I think they are a great addition to our grid, but not enough to run our grid. Solar panels, windmills, all of these green energy things that they're coming out with, that they're stealing our money to do, they will never power the world. They will never, ever, ever power the world, right? So you can take that to the bank. And it may take 5 years, it may take 10 years for me to be proven right, but in the end, I will be proven right. Unless they come out with some kind of technology that we've never heard of that can take a solar panel and say, oh, this one solar panel is gonna power your entire house if you just put one little watt hour or watt of light onto it. Anyways, let's see what you got here, Gray. What do you got? Let's see.
Well, one thing I want to add to what you're saying before we read that is real quick is that the whole green thing truly benefits who do you think it benefits the most? The cobalt and the lithium. Where does all that come from?
Yep.
It's not coming from our country.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
I mean,
definitely
it's the same people that are for this green thing, right? They're like, oh, we have to protect the environment. Well, this green thing makes us as a world have to do a lot more mining that we did before. And what
agreed.
does mining do? It destroys the environment. And it's
Exactly.
done in countries,
Exactly.
and it's done mainly in countries that are not responsible like we are here in the United States when we mine. We are one of
Agreed.
the cleanest countries in the world, if not the cleanest country in the world, when it comes to mining,
Except for
to drilling for oil, to mining for minerals, because we have regulations and we have departments that actually uphold those regulations and make those companies actually do what they're supposed to do the right way. And if you compare our mining and our oil drilling and stuff like that to other countries, like in the continent of Africa or China or India, man, we are not, they are nothing close to what we are as far as being safe and being better for the environment than they are. But yeah,
nowhere
those
near.
people that are proponents of this Green New Deal thing and think that they're going to save the planet because they're going to go with solar, those are the people that are going to be worst off because they don't understand that they're going to need to be prepared more so than what we understand that we need to be prepared. So we're going to be prepared and they're not. And in the end, they're going to pay the price a lot heavier than what we are. But let's go ahead and
Agreed.
take a look at this, Gray. What
All
is it
right.
that I haven't looked at it yet.
All right. You want me to read it for you?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
It says the inflation in rail and road infrastructure projects is nothing compared to what is about to happen in the area of power generation.
Yep.
It is already diverting labor and resources from everyday necessities like housing, but there is a looming shortage of the components to make up the renewable energy and power networks. In addition, proceeding without adequate storage is going to increase the need for gas-fired power generation, which is only going to get more expensive because the government policy is making it difficult to start new gas projects.
Yep. And I've talked about this in length in previous videos that there are companies that are putting off exploration for new oil, exploration for new gas, because the government is telling them, hey, Biden is telling people, hey, we're going to get rid of the fossil fuel industry. So if you were one of the fossil fuel industries currently, would you be investing money in new exploration projects when the president himself told you, hey, we're going to go ahead and make you obsolete? Absolutely not. You're not going to invest a penny in any kind of R&D, in any kind of looking for new oil or looking for new gas, none. So by the time that we figure out that we're not going to make it on green energy, by the time we figure it out, it'll be so long down the road that they don't even have any more places to drill because they haven't been looking for any places to drill. People are going to wake up in a real hurry. These people that you see pasting their hands to the concrete, those people are going to be freezing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, make sure that you have a way. If you live in an area that is a cold area, like here in Alaska, make sure you have a way that in the very worst of times, you can protect yourself from the cold, right? What's one of the things that I do? I make sure that I always have a 3-year supply of what I use for heating. That way, if something were to happen today where I know that I'm not going to be able to replenish that for another 2 years, I know that I'm going to be able to make it 3 years. And then I still have redundancy on top of that for another 2 years. So at any given time during the year, I have 5 years worth of heating for my house. Now, I know that crises of different types last different lengths of time. But man, if we run into a crisis where I cannot get heating oil for my house for more than 5 years, then guess what? I'll put in my wood stove. Again, it's about redundancy and it's about taking a look at actionable intel that will tell you what's going to go on maybe a year or 2 or 3 years from now. But I guarantee you, and what Gray Man just read tells you yourself that this green energy stuff, it ain't gonna work. Why? Because it's not working now with all of this money they're pouring into it, and it's not gonna work tomorrow, no matter how much money they pour into it. And that, Gray, is where I'm gonna leave it for today's show, unless you have something else.
No, I mean, I got stuff we could use for the other show. We're good, man. I just wanted to one last note that I had here in regards to emergency preparedness that I want to share with folks before we cut it. In regards to emergency preparedness in general, when you prepare not only for yourself but for your children, your family, it teaches life skills. Learning about emergency preparedness teaches valuable life skills, including problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, and resilience. That's the last kind of thing I want to add to emergency preparedness and why it's important to prepare.
Hey.
I just like to. I've been wanting to kind of throw these little things out there to kind of give people folks that look. It's very, very important. Outside of some of the other things that we talk about, if it's news or this or that, there's a real critical aspect to emergency preparedness and why it's important. You know what I mean? It's not all about doom and gloom. You know what I mean? It's just being prepared for anything that might come your way, folks. It could be the littlest thing to the largest thing. I just like to be redundant about that, And if I can get one thing out of every video that I do is getting one more person, as Rudy says, reach one, teach one, and repeat. Hell of a saying, man. Hell of a saying.
There you go. All right, brother. Well, hey, man, it's been a great show. Thank you very much for joining in, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess we will see you all next week on Gray Man's channel. Now, Gray, someone recommended that we do our live stream and where it does it on both channels at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're just going to keep doing it this way. I'm an old salty dog that likes doing things the hard way, and it seems to work. So what do you think, Gray?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I like bouncing from channel to channel because we're integrating our communities together and building a broader base to reach more people. And then plus, new people find us all the time. New people are finding me. New people are finding you. And this way, they're getting more money for or is it more bang for their buck? You know what I mean?
There you go. And just in case, well, tomorrow, make sure you check out Gray Man's live stream, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Gray.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the big, huge Christmas giveaway.
Okay. And then I won't have another live stream until this Friday. So this Friday, we will have a regular live stream. I'll try to get the time right. It'll be at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be the Black Friday live stream where I'll be, talking about the sponsors of the channel and what kind of deals they have and all that kind of stuff. But we'll talk about that then. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, if I don't see you again, I hope that you all have a great Thanksgiving. And don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving if you live in the United States of America. This is America, and I don't care what the heck happened 400 years ago. In America, we celebrate Thanksgiving. So you go get that bird, and if it's still alive, go ahead and wring its neck and feather it and put it in your oven with a whole bunch of butter. And I'm all serious about that. I hate it when people say, oh, we shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving because of this or that. Listen, Thanksgiving is about giving thanks for the bounty which you have been allowed to gather for that year so that your family can be better off than they were at the beginning of the year. To me, that's what Thanksgiving is for. It's about giving thanks and family. And in America, we do that on this Thursday coming up. So happy Thanksgiving to every one of you. Thank you very much for joining in. Again, thank you very much, Gray. Always awesome doing a live stream with you. And I'll see you tomorrow during your live stream. I'll be in there entering all of those prizes that you're going to give away. I never win anything, Gray. I never win anything. Okay.
One day you'll win something. Minuteman
Don't
used to
sweat.
say that all the time, and he finally won something. You never know, man. It's just luck of the draw. Luck of the draw.
So
I'll
I
be on
do
yours
have
too.
a. Oh, go ahead. I do have an outro that Gray sent me, but I don't have it uploaded yet. So I'm going to outro with the intro. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in today while we document the apocalypse. God bless every one of you. God bless America. And we will see you on, what is it, the rebound, Gray?
Yeah, I would say catch you on the rebound.
We will catch you on the rebound. God bless.